much stock do you put into this game?
I put a lot of stock into it because I believe had they had Chris Paul last year, they win Game 7. I believe they beat him. And for whatever reason, they do not fear this team. They're one of the few teams that in all the NBA, especially the Western Conference, that does not fear the Golden State Warriors. Chris Paul, he will attack Steph Curry.
Right.
P.J. Tucker will get up into Kevin Durant as close as he possibly can. They switch every single thing. They got guys that can slide their feet, skip, and stay in front of people. And they make shots. Chris Paul was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable.
You look at this.
That was one of the best games I've ever seen him play.
He was.
It was in total control. But you look at P.J. Tucker. He had 18 points, 10 rebounds. Kenneth Faried, Skip, he sat 2 years on the bench at Denver. He goes to Brooklyn and can't get off. Oh, he's this, he's that. You know, sometimes, and I've said this before, having been a player in a professional league, is that sometimes when people have a perception of you, no matter where you go, that perception follows. Now he goes to Houston, 20 and 10. Capella only didn't have a great game scoring, but he had 15 rebounds. Eric Gordon, a monster. CP3, again, a monster. And they didn't make shots, Skip. I mean, like Steph Curry was cold early. I mean, he made a few shots. Kevin Durant was Kevin Durant. P.J. Tucker can bother him as much as he can. But look, dude's 7 foot tall. Shooting the ball at almost a 10-foot arc. There ain't nothing you can really do with that, Skip. You see how they played this game? Now, they beaten them without Chris Paul. They beaten them without James Harden. The question is, can James Harden, now he's in a mode where I need to do all this. Can he get out of that? Just says, okay, now I don't need to score 30. I don't need. Are we going to move the ball?
Right.
Because this is how they beat them. They got no ISO player. They move the ball. You look at all these assists they have, they're like 26 assists, and Chris Paul had 17 of them. Skip, this means something because it goes to the psyche. A lot of teams don't believe they can beat Golden State. They believe they can beat this team. They believe had Chris Paul been healthy last year, they would have beat him. And a part of beating someone, Skip, especially when they're as talented and represent what the Warriors represent, is belief. Do you honestly, now don't give me no lip service, do you really believe that you can beat them? And I believe to a man, the Rockets believe they can beat the Golden State Warriors.
I agree with pretty much everything you said. You know, we said in boxing, styles make fights.
Yes.
It's true in basketball, too.
Yes.
I remember in 2009 when LeBron's Cavs, 66 wins, lost to Orlando. Orlando was just a style they couldn't match up with.
Big man kick.
Right. I think those Cavs might have won the championship if they had gotten there, but they couldn't match up with Orlando style. Remember when Golden State beat Dallas? Dallas had won 60-something games.
Yeah.
Golden State had handled them in the regular season, then beat them in the first round of the playoffs as the 8th seed. So there is something to this. Now, if they meet in the playoffs, I will pick Golden State. I will pick Golden State. I think they will win. But the Rockets could beat them. They might be the only team you look at and you say they can beat them. I think there's 3 keys for the Rockets to beat them. One is defense. They've gotten better with that. You said it about P.J. Tucker. You can't stop Kevin Durant, but he makes it tough on him. He makes it tough on him. Secondly is the toughness. Like when Cleveland beat Golden State, and even you mentioned when Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt, when they made it tough on them, they got physical with them. When Steph and Clay are running off screens, you're bumping them here and there, you know, and subtly nudging them and stuff. They got that in P.J. Tucker, Kenneth Faried, Austin Rivers is tough. So they have that. And then the third key is what you alluded to, finding the balance offensively between Harden and Chris Paul. They are on, since Chris Paul got back in the 10 games he's played, they are 5-5 because they haven't been maximizing him. They've thrown him in there like Eric Gordon or Gerald Green or whoever, and you basically are a part of the James Harden show.
Right.
And Harden, he's not a selfish player, I don't believe. But he's in this mode, and the teammates are in it too.
Yeah.
Like they're happy with him getting his 30.
Sure.
But they're not. They have to edge their way back to what they were last year, which was Chris was just as much a part. His numbers weren't as prolific, but he got his chance to shine just as James did. He wasn't just an ancillary part. They have to somehow get back to that, and then I think they could really give Golden State some trouble.
I don't agree with anything I just heard.
Did you watch the game Saturday night?
Did I? Go look at my Twitter line. See if I didn't tweet about it. If James Harden had played Saturday night, it was the reverse of what happened to LeBron
Against Anthony Davis,
New
the
Orleans.
Pelicans.
Interesting.
If James Harden plays, Golden State wins going away. If Draymond doesn't go down with about 9 minutes left, 8:56 left, I think Golden State still comes back and wins that game. It's the same Houston team that just last Thursday night had blown another big lead, this one 19
they're blowing a lead now.
at Lakers, 19. So over the last month, they've blown a 29-point lead and a 19-point lead and a 15-point lead. Those are the Rockets. And I'll give you one guy. I give you PJ on defense. He's not afraid of Kevin Durant. He gets up in him.
He ain't
He
afraid
gets
of
very
anybody.
physical. You're right. He's got the greatest sneaker collection in the history
Yeah.
of collections. He just rules the world when it comes to sneakers, right?
I'm close second.
You're second? I do not think you're even in the ballpark of this guy. But I give you Chris Paul. This goes back to his Clipper days. He just despises everything Golden State, and it started a long time ago under Mark Jackson, and he likes to go out there and just mix it up with them, and he's not afraid. But I will submit to you that if Golden State plays Houston, Golden State will win in 5, and I'm being generous because it could be a sweep.
No way.
With no Mbamute and no Trevor Ariza, they're just not quite the same to me. And I agree with you. Austin Rivers has given him a nice little pop, and he's not afraid because of his father and his upbringing. He's not afraid. I just don't think they're good enough. They haven't shown me enough this year. So right now, they're 34-25. They're sitting in the 5th seed. And by the way, they're just barely above the Jazz, game back. Clippers, Spurs,
all
only
close,
2
right?
games
Yeah, it's
back.
close.
You know, like Houston, if they go on a little cold streak here, they could wind up in the 8th seed.
But
They
you know,
could.
But Skip and Chris, you know what used to separate Golden State from everybody else was their bench. Their bench has become very average, very mediocre. Skip, nothing
Yeah,
jumps
but
like.
they added DeMarcus Cousins.
But he's a starter. They've inserted him
Right.
into the starting lineup now.
Yep.
So when you look at it, I mean, Iguodala, Kevin Looney, Jerebko, Quinn Cook. I mean,
It's not close to
No,
what it
it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
'Cause
Sean
that-
Livingston, he's
He's
Yeah.
a little older.
He's a little
not
older
quite
than
the
Skip.
same.
Andre's a little older. That $15 million, $16
I don't know,
million
it's still
get it
pretty
there.
good. I'll go Golden State in 5 in that series.
Nah.
You picking them? You want to go on record right now?
Hold on, Skip.
Okay.
That wasn't the question. Why
It
you
was
always-
the
No,
question.
it was not the question.
It's the ultimate question.
Did it mean
How much
so-
stock do you put
I
in
put
it?
a lot of stock.
Okay. Do you put enough stock into saying that Houston will eliminate Golden State so that
they might-
LeBron can get to a
some-
9 straight finals?
Somebody,
Is that
might,
where
somebody
we're headed?
someone might eliminate both of them.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, if James Harden, as Chris and I would discuss, is James Harden going to stay in that role where he's averaging 37 a night? Because if
try.
they do, they're not going to beat him.
I don't know.
Right.
The ball movement is what beats
They
them.
better get a whole bunch of whistles in the postseason because you saw what happened when the whistles went quiet against the Lakers the other
Yeah,
night.
Well, you
Right.
know,
That's
that,
true.
that happens in the playoffs. James Harden is not getting those calls in the
not
playoffs.
getting
That's
No fault.
another reason they need to wean themselves off
Right.
of this Harden all the time offense.
And plus, Golden State didn't shoot free throws well. They were 14 of 20, and Rockets were 22 of 24.
Actually, the stats say Golden State played pretty well enough to win this game. If you look at they made, 39% of their three-point shots, right?
Houston got up 43 and made 16.
Well,
The challenge for the bigger, I mean, again, I wouldn't pick them to beat Golden State, but Houston could just get eliminated by somebody else. They may not even get to Golden State. But if they get to them, I think they will give them the toughest matchup.
yeah.
Because like you said, they firmly believe they can beat them.
Well, for one night, Chris Paul didn't need insurance, right? Because every time I
That's
look
a
up,
whole
he
nother
needs
thing.
more.
He's gotta
needs
be- yeah,
insurance,
he's
right?
That
gotta-
ain't no Cliff.
He got to stay.
Oak Cliff Paul.
Cliff Paul. He's not. He's just
Cliff
Chris.
Paul.
But that insurance agent lives with him, right? He just hangs with him. It's unbelievable.
Chris, hey,
And you know, someone's always going wrong.
It's always
There's
tragic.
a calamity, right?
He is the perfect guy for that with the injuries, you know.
and you know what? And the thing is, if I'm a free agent, I'm going to Houston. Because Chris Paul will get me in all his commercials. He get all his boys. He get all his boys.
He does. That is
Okay.
He's a
true.
TV star.
That
The
is
Rockets face the Warriors again. They could go for that regular season sweep March 13th.
I got
That
the
game
Rockets.
in Houston.
I got the
Do
Rockets
you
right
really?
now. You want something to do on that? You want me to
I
turn it?
might. Let's get closer to the game. I got to see who's
This
healthy.
guy wants to make a bet
Oh, now
so
we want to see
badly.
who's healthy.
And he's been trying to make a bet all day.
I kind of like this. You said it, so it's on the table
we're gonna
right
do
now.
it, or we're
I
gonna
kind of
wait?
like it.
How about
No,
you
I
bet?
got to wait. I got to see who's healthy.